In August 2023, a 12-year-old boy climbed out a window in Ivins, Utah, desperate for help. What happened next tore open one of YouTube's most famous family channels, 8 Passengers, and exposed months of horrific abuse. This is the full story of Ruby Franke. The rise, the red flags, the escape, the arrest, the guilty pleas, the sentences, and what's happened since.
Welcome to Crime Logic, where every mystery has a method and every story hides a truth. Tonight, we dive into another chilling case you won't forget.
Ruby Franke and her husband Kevin launched 8 Passengers around 2015, chronicling life with their 6 children and racking up millions of subscribers and views. By 2020, criticism surged over harsh parenting choices, like removing a child's bed for months or a child going to school without lunch, sparking petitions and even welfare checks. After 2022, the family channel faded. Ruby increasingly collaborated with a Utah life coach and counselor, Jodi Hildebrandt, through ConneXions, a program pushing extreme accountability and honesty. Jodi Hildebrandt's license had previously been put on probation in 2012 for unprofessional conduct. In 2023-24, her license was restricted and then effectively ended amid the criminal case. To truly understand the shocking downfall of Ruby Franke, we need to start where it all began. In 2015, Ruby launched her family vlog channel 8 Passengers. It was meant to be wholesome, a glimpse into the life of a mother raising 6 children in Utah. Audiences were drawn to her structured routines and picture-perfect family life. At its peak, the channel amassed over 2 million subscribers and millions of views each week. But behind the carefully framed shots and cheerful introductions, something darker was unfolding. Ruby's parenting style was not just strict, it was extreme. She openly bragged about withholding food as punishment, taking away bedrooms for months, and isolating her children when they disobeyed. What many parents saw as everyday challenges, Ruby treated as opportunities to enforce control. The internet noticed. By 2020, viewers began voicing outrage. Clips of her children being denied meals or forced to sit in isolation circulated online. One of the most infamous incidents involved Ruby admitting that her son had been sleeping on a beanbag for months after being punished, and she insisted it was justified. Another moment showed her refusing to bring her kindergartner lunch at school, saying going hungry would teach him responsibility. What Ruby saw as parenting, millions began calling child neglect. At the same time, cracks in her personal life were beginning to show. Ruby's marriage to Kevin Franke was strained. Neighbors and even her own children hinted at rising tensions in the household. Kevin reportedly moved out for periods of time, and while Ruby never addressed it directly on camera, the absence was hard to ignore. The happy, united family image that once drew fans was unraveling before the audience's eyes. By 2022, 8 Passengers was in freefall. YouTube demonetized the channel after repeated community backlash, sponsors pulled away, and Ruby's reputation collapsed. But instead of stepping back or reflecting, Ruby doubled down on her methods. She turned to Jodi Hildebrandt, a mental health counselor already criticized for her controversial practices. Together, they launched ConneXions Classroom, a program promoting rigid obedience, strict discipline, and emotional control. This partnership marked a turning point. Ruby began to distance herself from friends, extended family, and even her husband. She immersed herself fully in Jodi's ideology, embracing harsher punishments and cutting her children off from outside influences. The Franke household became more isolated, more controlled, and more secretive. What had started as a wholesome family vlog had now become something unrecognizable, a world where discipline was prioritized over love, where punishments replaced guidance, and where children were treated less like kids and more like subjects in an experiment. And it was within this environment, in the walls of Jodi Hildebrandt's home, that Ruby's children would endure the unimaginable, until one day, one of them found the strength to escape. On August 30th, 2023, Ruby Franke's 12-year-old son escaped from Jodi Hildebrandt's home in Ivins, Utah, appearing emaciated with injuries. As you can see in this CCTV footage of the escape where he is trying to get help from the neighbors. You can see the fear in his body language, cautious, hesitant, but desperate for safety. With no other choice, he turns and walks away, continuing his search for help. He tried his luck to another neighbor's door and presses the doorbell, then waits. The seconds stretch on in silence. His posture shows both hope and fear. Hope that someone will open the door, fear that he may be turned away. When the neighbor opened the door, everything shifted. What began as a quiet knock became a cry for help. The boy explained his condition, showing the ropes and tape marks that still clung to his skin.
Well, what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station. Well, actually, this one's fine.
What's going on, son? Have a seat there.
It's personal business.
Have a seat. What's your name? How'd you get here?
The neighbor called 911 and offers food to the child.
So he escaped.
We need the police here now.
The moment of rescue is captured on police body cam. In another clip, officers can be heard speaking softly, gathering critical information about what he had endured. These interactions highlight both the gravity of the situation and the relief of intervention. What was once hidden behind closed doors was now in the open, and for the first time, the cycle of silence had been broken.
What's the help you want?
Officers arrive at the Hildebrandt residence, aware that this property may hold the key to uncovering what has been hidden. Their approach is cautious yet determined. The door was opened by Jodi Hildebrandt herself. She stood there speaking on the phone, appearing calm and composed despite the unfolding situation. The officers wasted no time. They entered the home, explaining their purpose and beginning their search. What began at the doorstep with a brief encounter soon escalated into a thorough investigation of the property, as they suspected more children might be inside. Every room is checked with precision. Officers move from space to space, bedrooms, hallways, and common areas, ensuring nothing is left unexamined. Cabinets are opened, doors pushed aside, and every corner is scanned. The tone is steady but urgent. The possibility of victims inside makes every second matter. They head deeper into the home, searching the kitchen, storage spaces, and side rooms. Drawers are pulled open, appliances checked, closets inspected. The officers work as a unit, calling out discoveries and directing one another, making sure no hiding place is missed. When officers stepped into the basement, they immediately noticed something unusual. Unlike the darker areas of the house, the basement was already lit, almost as if someone had prepared this space to be used at any moment. Against one wall, they found what looked like a safe, but when they managed to open it, it revealed something far more disturbing. Behind the door was not a simple storage compartment, but an entire hidden room. Inside, officers found a small, self-contained space. There was a kitchenette with a fridge and cabinets, stocked in a way that suggested someone could live there, cut off from the rest of the world. The setup wasn't accidental, it was deliberate. This wasn't just a safe, it was a concealed living area. As the search continued, every cabinet was opened, every space checked. The refrigerator and cupboards were inspected. Officers turned to the refrigerator. Their search is methodical, not a glance, but a full sweep. They start on the outside, checking every surface. The hinges, the seams where two panels meet, the base where it meets the floor. They look for signs of tampering, extra screws, fresh paint, added panels. Anything that might indicate a hidden compartment or a recent modification. Then they step around to the back. They don't assume anything. They inspect the rear of the fridge for wiring, added insulation, or ductwork that could hide something from plain sight. In a case like this, the back of an appliance can be as telling as the front. After checking both exterior sides and behind the unit, an officer pulls open the door. The interior is carefully examined shelf by shelf. The door racks, the drawers, the vegetable crispers. They're not only looking for food or spoilage, they're searching for anything out of place. Straps, makeshift bedding, hidden notes, signs of long-term occupancy, or attempts to conceal evidence. Every drawer is slid out. Every shelf is felt, tapped, and peered under. Cabinets are opened and checked in the same thorough way. The tension rises as they reach a small, locked closet. The silence is heavy, but what they're about to find will change everything.
I'm Sergeant Tobler. What's your name? I just have one. Where's your sister at?
Contact one.
You okay? Huh? You doing okay?
Inside this confined space, officers make a heartbreaking discovery. A young girl, frightened and concealed, pulled from the shadows.
She's outside with us. You take your time, but I'm in no hurry. I'm a police officer. Did you know that? I don't mean to hurt you at all. You doing okay?
This moment confirms the worst fears, that children were being hidden in unimaginable conditions inside the home. The officers' voices reveal both urgency and relief. They've found another victim, but the search is far from over. At first, the young girl did not respond to the officers, remaining quiet and still. They spoke to her gently, offering reassurance and food. Gradually, she began to react, slowly taking the food that was handed to her. It was clear she had gone without proper care for some time.
Want to talk? Okay. There's nothing at all you want to talk about at all? It's okay to talk to me.
After a few moments, the officers helped her to her feet, and she began walking with them, a fragile but significant step towards safety as they guided her out. Not long after the search was underway, Ruby Franke arrived at Jodi Hildebrandt's residence. As she stepped inside, she immediately noticed the presence of law enforcement moving through the home. Instead of reacting with alarm, she attempted to remain calm, quietly taking a seat on the sofa. From there, she sat silently, watching as officers continued their search of the property. Her composed exterior contrasted sharply with the urgency of the investigation unfolding around her. Inside the interrogation room, Ruby Franke sat across from investigators. The officers asked questions, attempting to piece together her role in the disturbing case. But Ruby remained completely silent. Her expression gave little away, and her body language stayed controlled. Following the guidance of her attorney, she chose not to answer, offering no explanations, no denials, and no defense. The quiet in that room was heavy, a sharp contrast to the urgency and emotion outside, where officers were uncovering the conditions her children had endured. In that silence, investigators were left with the evidence they had gathered, while Ruby herself gave them nothing more.
So we just spoke with your husband, and he said you guys have 6 kids. Are those all together? Are those all your kids? I can wait all day, so it's up to you if you want to talk to us about what's going on.
In a separate room, Jodi Hildebrandt faced her own interrogation. Unlike Ruby Franke, Jodi did not remain completely silent. She appeared uneasy as officers pressed her with questions about the children's condition and the circumstances inside her home. At moments, she tried to shift responsibility, distancing herself from direct blame. Yet, the investigators maintained a firm line of questioning, confronting her with the disturbing evidence already discovered. Her words, fragmented and defensive, stood in sharp contrast to the reality that had been documented by police cameras only hours earlier.
Don't get me wrong, most of them are probably a little off base. We're not as mean, I won't get up and beat you up. We don't do that.
We just want to get to know you a little, so if you just kind of want to share a little about yourself and what brought you down here. And
so I trust my attorney. He said, don't say anything. And I said, I have nothing to hide. And he's like, I know that, but just let me be there with you when you talk. So you guys seem nice people.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm trying to be difficult. This is really, if you knew all the pieces, I think you'd have a lot of empathy for what's going on.
That's really
what we're looking for. And you're an adult, and the thing about our interview, if we ask you any questions that you don't want to answer, you can just tell us, I don't want to answer that question. But we do want to have a basis and an understanding of what's going on in that home, or what went on up north that brought them into your home. And so if you want to share any of that and you don't want to answer any other questions, that's okay.
I'd like to just tell you, but I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're going to flip my words. I don't know.
And that's the good thing about cameras. Everything, it's pretty much double recorded, audio, video, and it's for the safety for you and for us.
Among the evidence released in the Ruby Franke case were personal journal entries, written in her own hand. These pages reveal the mindset she carried during the months leading up to her arrest. In these writings, Ruby often frames her parenting decisions as part of a larger moral or spiritual mission. She portrays discipline not as punishment, but as a form of what she believed was righteous correction. What stands out is how she describes her children, not simply as kids in need of care and love, but as souls that had to be fixed or guided through suffering. This gives chilling context to the way she justified extreme methods of control. On one page, Ruby writes about obedience and compliance, linking it to worthiness. For investigators, these entries were more than just personal notes. They were windows into how she rationalized behavior that would later be prosecuted as abuse. While journals are often private reflections, in this case, they became evidence. They show us how a person who once ran a family advice channel on YouTube could descend into a cycle of harmful beliefs and practices. These pages don't excuse her actions, but they do help us understand the dangerous mindset that influenced them. On December 18, 2023, Ruby Franke pleaded guilty to 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. On December 27, 2023, Jodi Hildebrandt also pleaded guilty to 4 counts. On February 20, 2024, both Franke and Hildebrandt were sentenced to 4 consecutive terms of 1 to 15 years each. Utah's indeterminate sentencing means the Board of Pardons and Parole decides the actual time served. With consecutive terms, the minimum is 4 years. The statutory maximum served is generally capped at 30 years.
If you enjoyed watching this thrilling crime story, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.